Good day to you and welcome to another edition of Take 5. Our special guest on today's edition of Take 5 is Jeff Warren, who volunteers with the Miller Keystone Blood Center. Jeff, thanks for coming in today.
Appreciate you having me.
You have a big blood drive, of course, coming up on August the 6th that we'll talk about in a moment. But first of all, well, if you could tell us a little bit about your story and why you're so involved in our blood drives here in Lehigh Valley.
Many years ago, I had started donating blood at Miller Keystone Blood Center, and then my wife and I decided that we wanted to start a family. And it was at that point, after our identical twin daughters, Abigail and Addison, were born, we noticed there was something that wasn't necessarily right with Abigail. Her stomach was distended a bit, and for the first 6 weeks, we weren't too sure what was going on. Of course, we then took her to the doctor, to the pediatrician, and she ended up having what was called Hirschsprung's disease. What Hirschsprung's disease is where the enzymes do not properly form in the lower intestine, and therefore, and excuse any type of visual, can't necessarily push out her waist. So she had to have a series of surgeries, and it was based on my knowing and understanding of how Miller Keystone Blood Center could really make a difference with regard to blood donations. She needed a transfusion, in fact, a series of blood transfusions. My daughter was able to use my blood for 2 of the 3 blood transfusions that she received. And we are so very grateful for Miller Keystone Blood Center for making that happen.
Yeah, as I found out a couple years ago with the birth of my first son, there's a lot of stress involved, and you're so happy to have them, and they're a blessing. When things go wrong, though, I mean, it is a very dramatic experience to go through. How much did the Blood Center and Miller Keystone and having that support there help you through that difficult time?
I had known a lot of the staff at Miller Keystone Blood Center for years, so it was very easy, but the staff is always fantastic, always very compassionate, wonderful to be around when you are there in the center donating, whether or not you expand your horizons, get to know some of the other staff as well. They're absolutely fantastic to work for. But you're right, traumatic situations, the stress level is high at times when you're in a situation like Abigail was, but they were there to really help you through the process, and that was great.
And you started donating before you actually had kids. So what first brought you into giving blood?
Well, to be honest with you, I had worked in the public realm for many years and learned that blood donations really do save lives. They really do. One blood donation, a pint of blood, can save 3 lives. And when you think about in the context of how many people there are in this world, how many people there are in this Lehigh Valley community, and how many people have the opportunity to donate blood, you can save so many lives, and that's what keeps me coming back.
Yeah. And it's always important to keep the banks filled because, as you experienced, emergencies can happen anywhere, anytime.
They do, but when we least expect them, and especially in our situation, we had, what we thought were 2 healthy kids that were going to be coming along. One wasn't, but in the end, it was Miller Keystone Blood Center, and me allowing them to take my blood to be able to give to my daughter during her blood transfusions. That made all the difference in the world.
Now, the next blood drive coming up on August 6th, kind of take us through what people would experience when they come out.
Well, you obviously have to go through a screening process, and through that screening process, it's very simple. A series of questions are asked, and then I always tell people it's one simple little pinch. Perhaps. I know there are times when I donate where I don't even feel the needle going in. So I would say to everybody, please come out and support this great cause, support this great organization, and inevitably save lives.
All right, Jeff Warren, thanks so much for your contributions and for coming in today.
Absolutely, thank you.
And don't forget to check out the Miller Keystone Blood Center, the blood drive coming up on August the 6th. And thanks for joining us for another edition of Take 5.